Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today is another somewhat unscheduled project. Mother Nature is threatening us with a ice apocalypse, snow apocalypse, or nothing could happen. And we do not have our power distribution set up to accept a generator. The concern I've got is if power goes down, and it's happened in the past here on the feeder line that we're on. About 10 years ago, an ice storm came through and there were people in this area that were without power for over a month. And what I'm trying to prevent is our well house freezing up because we don't have power to keep it warm. So I've got a bunch of stuff here I'll bring in and show you in a second that we're going to try to put together and get it so we can hook our generator up and power the well and the fifth wheel and stay warm and hopefully keep our water from freezing. We've got a couple of different setups that we can use for a generator. This is the power cord that hooks in to provide power from the generator to the house or whatever the structure is. And it's a 50 amp twist lock plug. And this is the box that goes on the side of the house that this thing plugs into. And you know, you just come up to your house, stick that in, twist it and lock it, and that gives you your connection for your generator. And this plug on the end of this cord is set up for a 50 amp input, and this runs off of a big generator or welding machine. This adapter allows me to take this cord and adapt it to a smaller generator. I've got I think it's a 6500 running watt generator that uses a 30 amp connection, and 30 amps will run everything in the fifth wheel, but it'll have a hard time pulling the well. So I'm trying to set this up so I can bring the welding machine over here if we need it and power everything. And I don't know exactly how I'm going to have to do this to make it work, so I've got a whole array of parts out here. I've gone over to the main panel where we get power off the grid and shut off the circuit breaker that feeds this box, and I'm about to check it. And then what a tool I'm using here, this is a Klein Tools dual range voltage tester. I just call it a chicken stick. I think that's pretty much what everybody else calls it, because you use it to see if you've got voltage coming in before you start tearing into stuff. And it's a proximity detector, and so it does not look like we've got any voltage coming in to this panel. And the LED indicators on my RV surge protector are off, so there's no power coming to that panel. And this is what our power looks like. We've got our main line coming in from the distribution panel over by the power pole, and then we've got breakers for the different circuits within this box, and which they were feeding this 50 amp, and there's a 50 amp breaker that goes from this box to this box, which is where we have our well, and it's on a 30 amp circuit. So if we feed 50 into this, since we're not going to be running air conditioners on the camper, the heat and everything is actually 12 volt. We're just running the inverter. We should have plenty of power with a 50 amp input to run the well and the camper. Now, if we were running air conditioners, yeah, probably not. We'd probably have to run the camper on one generator and the well on another, because we've got a 50 amp input. And bear in mind that I am not an electrician. I'm just Joe Bob, the homeowner, and I'm trying to do this in a way that I can prevent my water from freezing up. I'm going to do it so it's safe, but don't take anything that I do as the way to do it, or that it's in code or anything else. I'm just trying to get it done. And of course, it's about to start raining. So what I got to do is build the sub panel box that I can put a breaker in it to disconnect the generator plug, because the way the plug is made, it's so that when you plug your cord into the generator, you don't have hot male prongs sticking out. So the receptacle to plug your generator cord into to power what you're going to power has a shrouded set of male plugs in it. And if you don't put a breaker in line between the main panel box and the generator, if you turn your main power switch on, that box makes these plugs hot all the time. So we've got to be able to put this sub panel box in with a breaker. And your wiring to carry the 50 amps needs to be 6 gauge wire. And what I bought to run this wiring in is 3/4 inch liquid tight conduit to allow me to have a supposedly waterproof connection. And the way these work, on the outside of the box there's an O-ring, and then this nut goes on the inside, and then your, if I can get it apart, oh well, these are different. These twist onto the conduit. Well, that ain't good. Okay. These are the ones I'm used to working with. To seal the outside, there's a gasket inside of it, and this tightens down on these cone-shaped fingers and holds the conduit inside here. Okay, and this little nylon nut goes over the end of the short nipple that's connecting these boxes, and it just keeps the insulation from being cut where the end of the piece of pipe is. And see, this is how it goes together. There's a short nipple between the two, lock nut on the outside and the inside of each one to lock the boxes together, and then I'll screw it to that board on the post over there. The way that it gets wired up, because this is a 240 volt single phase system, is you have one neutral leg, one ground leg, and then you've got two hot legs. One goes to each side of the bus bar, the breaker, to provide 240 volts. Then on the other boxes in the sub panel that this thing is feeding, you'll have 120 breakers that are only picking up one leg off of that bus bar. This is why I don't throw things away. This is a grounding bar out of another junction box, distribution panel, something that I had laying around for some reason, and I just threw it in my parts bin, and this box does not come with a grounding bar. I guess technically I could just use a ring terminal on the end of the wire and screw it straight to the box, but this makes it a little bit easier to put stuff together and take it apart if you need to. And what I'll do is use a self-drilling, self-tapping screw this to the box, then flip it over and grind the portion off that sticks out of the back of the box. Okay, so you can see the way this thing comes in, the legs match up to the different legs inside this box. So you got your red wire coming in, going to one side, providing 120 volt. You got your black wire coming into the other side providing 120 volts. And there's your neutral, and then the ground is tied into that grounding bar down there. When I run the wire from this box to that box, we'll tie in the same basic way, except it'll tie into the bottom of the breaker for the 120 legs, and then into the ground bar and the neutral bar for those two wires. Keeps wanting to try to rain on me. And those of you that are electricians, don't be tearing me up too bad, because I am not an electrician. I'm just trying to get it done. There's my 50 amp circuit breaker. And the way these work, there's lugs on the bottom that lock in here, and then these prongs that stick up in the back of the box here, those go over the top of it. I don't like to do what I'm about to do, which is mix fasteners that are doing the same thing, but I'm using what I got. I like to be able to know that if I grab a Phillips screwdriver, it's going to take all of this stuff off, or Torx, or whatever the case may be. Fortunately, I don't have any Torx the same size as this that are short enough to keep from going through and hitting the other box. I don't like that for the dang. This little ground clamp connection in here does not hold very well, because it's a flat brass plate with a screw instead of a set screw like is on that grounding bar. I'm gonna have to use a ring terminal, I think, to make that work. It's ugly, but that'll work. So what I might do is pull the screw all the way out of this clamping plate, put it through the ring terminal, then back through the clamping plate, and then screw it in. Try to get all this mess shoved in this box. Little dummy. is a little tight for trying to run the wire through there. Me being not being an electrician, I don't know if it makes any difference, but when I wire these up, I try to run the same leg all the way through. So if the black is on the left coming into the bus bar, I put it on the left on the breaker, and then try to do the same thing over here. I don't know if it affects it staying in phase or not, but I figure if it makes a difference, it's better to have it the same from one side to the other, or one end to the other, rather. Since this box is so small, I can't really see to get it lined up in that clamp. Well, might have worked. I developed a real displeasure for working in the mud when I was in the Army. It irritates the fire out of me. Why is it that crappy weather always shows up early, but good weather doesn't? I'm gonna have to go get a jacket. Or are they both about the same and we just don't take notice because it's good weather? I am hopeful that the weather people are as accurate with what they say we've got coming as they normally are, and we don't get much, if any, of what they're saying we're going to get. And all of this will have been just an exercise in getting something done. But 2009, we had very much the same weather pattern, apparently, based on what they're saying. And my wife's aunt didn't have power for about a month and a half. What'll really be aggravating, if it does happen, is that they finally got high-speed fiber optic internet lines run, and we're supposed to get high-speed internet here in another couple of months. And if we have a bunch of ice take the power lines down, internet's not going to be a real high priority, I'm sure. These are the lines coming in from that other box. They come up, that's the neutral, tying into the neutral bar. This is our main neutral coming from the power grid. This is one of the 120 legs. This is the other 120 leg. So when we connect the generator to this box, or well, to the box next to it, and throw this breaker, we should then have generator input that'll allow us to run the well, which all of the pressure tank and all that stuff is in here, and power the fifth wheel. Because if the power goes out for an extended period of time, we do not want the well house to freeze up. If you're curious about the well house, I posted a video where I serviced the water filter and or water filters and the water softener, and I showed the inside of the well house and explained how that all worked. So I think we are to the point of making sure we got good continuity from one side to the other and hooking up the generator, see if it works. That's good. That's good. And that's good. All right, all those wires are at least connected between these two boxes. So let's see if we can make this work. And this box is a surge protector, but it also tells you if your power is connected correctly. And we know that the grid power is connected correctly because we've been running off of it. So I need to connect the generator and see if that's going to work. Okay, now I need to turn the grid power back on and make sure that that's working right. And that's working right. Still, I didn't knock anything loose because the line 1 is lit up, so that means we got good power there. So, yay. Now it's time to put all this back together, put the covers back on. And if you want to have shop towels, just rags that are absorbent, don't use fabric softener. It basically makes them waterproof. Okay. Put that back in. And the camper. And water freeze prevention. There we go. That side's done. Can't put that in if you don't have a big enough hole. Jesus. I might have to have more power than that. Okay. Ready for snowpocalypse, icepocalypse, whatever. Well, thanks for hanging out with me and getting this done. I didn't mention it while I was doing the video, but if you like what I do on these videos, or if it's me and somebody else, then please hit the like button and subscribe, share with your friends. And if you have a question or want to leave a comment, I read the comments and try to respond as quickly as possible. Maybe this will help you out. Hopefully nobody else is getting ready for icepocalypse at the same time. Thanks, and y'all have a good day.